Hi everyone, welcome back to If My Heart Wings, episode 49, and this is the last episode for the common route. So in episode 48, we saw the bad ending, and now I'm playing through the actual ending that will lead us to one of the character routes. So, Kotori, Ageha, or the twins. So, either way, on how it ends, the bottom line is that the Soaring Club will come back to life, much to our unfavorite teacher, Tobika Sensei's opposition. So, in the bad ending, they found an advisor, also qualified, and now they're able to use the runway again and go into the skies. But in the actual ending, they find Amane, and Amane is quite shocked to see that the Soaring Club stopped after she left. And I wonder what help she can give to the Soaring Circle / Society. And at least all of her plans are still intact, as well as the glider, which is now being stored in the hangar that's owned by the twins. So first of all, Kotori's shocked that Aoi met with Amane, and let's see what else happens as we head to the end. So first of all, let's hear Kotori's scream. Oh, sorry. So Kotori's like, wait, so you met Amane? Yeah, so after that, I went to the runway and met her by chance. Okay, Sekum, come on. So why didn't you invite us? Or let us come over there? Well, so Amane had to leave, unfortunately. But still, it's quite unfair that you saw her and we didn't. Well, I'm sorry. Well, but it really was only for a short time. So it looks like she'll be coming back soon. So I told her to come by and see us. So basically, I have to wait, and it's gonna be quite, I'll say like frustrating, or it's gonna be quite bad to wait for Amane to show up. Well, I'm sorry. So Amane wasn't really here to see them. She just wanted to get some parts for her lab, and it's like, well, if I'm in the area, I might as well just stop by the Flying Fish Manor or the field. Well, I know exactly how Kotori feels. So when can we see her again? So 3 days? 3 days. 3 days. Okay, so I'm just gonna start counting from today. So a big smile spreads across Kotori's face. Well, it's best to let Amane explain to Kotori why she doesn't respond to the texts. Well, don't go too far. So Amane will probably become really downhearted if you do that. Oh, really? Well, I'll show her. I don't care. Ha 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 ha. Well, damn you, Amane. Well, I'll soon show you. And Ageha gets the same response that Kotori gave. Yeah, so after that, I went to the runway and met her by chance. And same thing, so why didn't you call us? So same response as Kotori. Well, Amane had to leave, so... Hey, so why are you giving the same exact response as Kotori? There you go. So at school, I told Ageha the exact same thing I had told Kotori the day before, and she gave exactly the same response. It's like, come on, it's not fair. So you met Amane, whereas we didn't. And you could have told us about it and had us come over there. And I wonder how Ageha's going to respond to, well, she'll come back in 3 days or less, or 2.5 days. So there is a strong sense of unity in the Soaring Club. Oh, okay, so, well, she'll come in 2 days. How's that? Really? So where? So where is it going to be? Well, I think she's going to come and eat at the Flying Fish Manor. So she wants to taste all the delicious food that I was going to make for her. So Amane was drooling too. Then we be able to see those eating techniques of hers again that ruined her the effect of her good looks. Really? So they're looking forward to that? So yeah, so we could show that the glider's being stored at the new secret base, the hangar, the dock. So basically, even though the club got destroyed by Tobika Sensei, it is still not officially dead yet. It is alive secretly. Well, I agree. So we all thought so subconsciously. And the thing that Amane left behind, the thing that we had inherited from her. And also how much we grown. Okay? So we wanted her to see us as we are now. So I have a suggestion. What is it? Oh, so the truth is that I told everyone about the idea that had occurred to me the night before. So 3 days later, as promised, Amane Mochizuki comes to Kazegurura. And she's at the Flying Fish Manor. So how are you now? So So Kotori's okay. How about Ageha and Oh, so Hat's okay too. So in the afternoon, after finishing her work at Anchan's factory, she came round to the Flying Fish Manor. So what about you, Amane? So how are you doing? So what is it? So what kind of secret for Amane? Okay, so tell me. So why do you not answer my texts? Well. So write down the line where Amane's hair was parted. Kotori gave her a great big cry chop. Whoa, So what are you doing, Kotori? Even Hat disagrees. Come on, don't hurt Amane.
バカことに先輩の貴重な脳細胞にもしものことがあったらどうすんの。今日はこのぐらいにしといてやるわ。
Well, she is kind of smart, but is stupid when it comes to not answering people's calls or texts.
ひどいぞ、小鳥。
You're mean. So Amane rubs the top of her head where it had been chopped with tears in her eyes. So seeing those mannerisms make me feel sorry for her.
あの人がAmaneさん。
Okay, so the twins are interested in Amane.
思ってたより変ね。
So I knew it. She's strange.
でも綺麗だよ。背も高くて優しそう。天才となんとかは紙一重って言うけど、限りなくなんとかの方に近そうね。
Well, then again, I feel that the same applies to Yoru. So even though she's smart, she kind of is strange and can be considered something else. So hey, so we heard everything you've been saying, including Amane. Well, even if she did hear, Amane doesn't seem to have noticed.
紹介するわ。この子が新しく入った後輩の朝よ。
So now that you're here, let's introduce our newest club member to you. So Asa.
へえ、この子が。
Oh, so her?
私じゃないです。
So I think yours like, I'm pretty sure Amaya's going to pick the wrong person. So Asa blushed and hid behind Yoru.
朝、ちゃんと挨拶して。この人が偉大な大先輩、望月あまねちゃんよ。
So after being chopped on the head, it's hard to think of her as a great predecessor. But Asa seems really humble in front of her. Okay, so let's see how Asa greets Amane. So she really is a good girl.
はじめまして、風戸朝です。望月あまねだ。よろしくな、朝。
So Asa is really excited by Amane being so friendly towards her all of a sudden and giving her a handshake. Well, because Kotori had told her so many times about how great Amane is, it seemed that Asa has believed every word of it. But then again, oh, so yeah, yours like, I don't believe that.
こっちの子は？
So who's this then?
ただの部外者です。どうぞお気になさらずに。
So ignore me. I'm not in the club, so I'm just some random person walking around.
そうか、わかった。
Okay, I get it. So sarcasm doesn't work on Amane. She just took it at face plate or face value and seemed like she wasn't worried about it at all.
じゃあ早速ご飯にしよう。もうお腹ペコペコだ。
But I'm hungry, so time to eat. Okay.
はあ？何言ってんのよ、あまねちゃん。今日は葵くんのご飯を食べに来たんだぞ。
So the reason I'm here is because I want to eat Aoi's cooking.
私らに会いに来てくれたんでしょ？それもある。
Well, I guess so. So she said it like she was meeting us while she is on her way to get dinner.
私たち先 に見せたいものがあるんです。
Well, actually, we wanted to show you something else.
そうなのか。じゃあご飯の後で。
So first, let's eat, and then we'll talk.
ご飯の前、葵くん、ハンパンかなんかない？
So I gave her bread that I had bought, thinking I would. Let's see. So it eat for lunch. So I eat it for lunch, but had forgotten about. Oh, so eat this. Keep your hunger at bay.
あー、うぐいすパンだ。
So I think this is store bought instead of I made it. But anyways, Amaya's going to enjoy it.
さあ、行くわよ。久しぶりだな、ここに来るのは。
So I think they're going to show Amane the glider in the new secret base. Said Amane as we climbed the gentle slope path of Windmill Hill. So you flew over here many times on our test flight, didn't we? So flying over here felt good, so it was a regular course when we were testing.
来年ここに私が設計した風車が立つんだ。
Oh, so they're going to add more windmills, and it's going to have my fingerprints on it.
え、そうなんですか？
Really? So maybe an improved model which has better efficiency, so it can generate more power, and it can catch more winds than the current ones. Am I not?
グライダー製作で得た空気力学なんかのアイデアを使って新しい風車をデザインしてみたんだ。
So in a sense, the blades of the windmills, they're based on airfoil design, which is what they use to make wings for any kind of flying machine. So the wings and the blades for the windmill both come from the airfoil idea. And it's basically the airfoil's 2D, just a profile, whereas the wing is the entire 3D object. And like a wing, the blades, they have to catch wind somehow. And when they generate lift, in a sense, it's kind of like propelling the, or I'll say like pushing the blades.
実験的に何機かここに建てられることになっている。
So we're trying some new designs. But then again, there are some windmills that look kind of interesting. I know one that looks like a diamond, and that's said to catch wind from any direction, versus the propeller ones where they catch wind from only one direction. But then again, the newer windmills, they can swivel, or they can turn, and that helps.
新しい風車が立つんですか？
And for some reason, Asa's eyes sparkle as she joins the conversation.
ああ、来年だけどな。仕事の片手間に設計図を書いていたら他のスタッフに見つかってしまってな。
Well, I'm sure it's special and promising, like the glider.
知らない間に実際に作ることになっていたんだ。
But then again, I kind of wonder. So Amane's father is at a chemistry factory, and I wonder how they're able to build this windmill. And I wonder why they'd be interested when they saw all those blueprints. So because of that, the number of calls and emails with requests have been increasing, she mutters. She's still a natural born klutz, or should I say a genius. And then while thinking about the windmills that Amane had designed, we arrived at our destination. So here it is, Amane. So what's her reaction? So,
さあさあ、入って入って。
come on in. Okay, so we're inside, and entering the dock, Amane looked up at the vast ceiling.
ここは
So this is...
ここが私たちの新しい秘密基地よ。朝ちゃんと夜ちゃんに使わせてもらってるんです。
So thanks to the generous contribution of Asa and Yoru, we're able to use this place to continue doing work. So Amane takes a look inside the dock and the facilities.
これはすごいな。随分と本格的じゃないか。
So I wonder what memories it gives Amane.
でしょ？朝たちのおかげよ。
So thanks to the place, the plan we have been working on is proceeding smoothly.
温めてきた計画？
Wait, what plans? So we grin while standing in front of the glider that had been positioned here.
これはやっと気づいたみたい。
So like so look at the wings. These wings are designed by you, and we're just building them exactly the way that you had it on the blueprint. So how is it?
まあ、まだ全然途中だからね。
While Kotori and Ageha whisper to each other, Amane's checks over the aircraft that was in the middle of being built.
やっぱりだ。
Oh,
これって
it's like, oh, so those are my wings, or my design. So we are improving it according to the design that you left behind. So now do you recognize it?
私の設計図。
So I wonder if she's like, oh, wait a minute. I realized that there's a problem with the design, and I am kind of worried about it now.
そうよ。あまねちゃんがイシタのためにデザインしたやつね。
So usually when they see their designs, like, well, it's good. Or it's like, wait a minute. Well, that design was okay, but later I found that there's something wrong with it, and I don't recommend that you continue it because it will cause problems. Aya holds out the design that had been put over here. Amane looked at them quietly, and it wasn't clear if it was with a sense of nostalgia or sadness.
あの設計図ってあまねさんが描いたんだって。
So FYI, those plans were drawn by Amane herself. And Yori seems like, wow, so it is her.
君たちはバカだな。こんなものただの机上の空論なのに。
Okay, so it's like, wait a minute. So it was actually theory. It was just conceptual. I wasn't expecting that you would build it out, and there may be unforeseen problems once we go from concept to a prototype.
そんなことない。実現させるもん。
No, we're gonna build it, so it won't be a concept anymore. And in a sense, they can test to see if this design is perfect or it can be tweaked or fixed in some places.
活動場所がなくて何もできなかった間、私たちずっとこの図面を見ながら話し合ってきました。どうすれば実現させられるかって。
Well, we carefully considered piece by piece the possibility of making the parts. So we did try to put our own input and kind of just think about it like, is this design good or is it going to have problems? So we hypothesized the actual construction of all the parts in the plans and carried out a realistic simulation. It's like, well, it is incomplete, it's just a concept, but we kind of refined it a little bit and try to make it work. So, and that was really painstaking work. But, well, that's expected. But I'm sure it pays off at the end. So, thanks to that, we were able to confirm that we could actually make it. So at least these conceptual ideas, they're doable, and it's possible to have all these components fit in perfectly without any problems. So that's why we can do it.
私たちは絶対に行くの。あの雲の回廊へ。
Okay?
その時は天音先輩も一緒です。
So we will fly, burying everyone's dreams with this thing.
やっぱりバカだな、君たちは。
Well?
天音ちゃんの後輩なんだもん。しょうがないじゃん。あ、まったくだ。
Well, I guess. So what does Asa have to say?
姉さん？私も。
So Asa held her hand up and ran towards us. And then... Wait, what happened? Oh, so I think Yor pinched Asa. He slipped and fell over. Oh, oops. Are you okay, Asa? So more importantly... There you go. So, well, definitely, because you're part of us now. So, you will be flying in this glider at some point and go through the morning glory clouds like we want to.
そうそう。嬉しいです。何よ、姉さんまで熱くなっちゃって。ほんとバカみたい。
Well...
いい拠点を見つけたな。ここならのびのびと制作できそうじゃないか。
So I wonder if Yora's not interested in gliders. I wonder what her interest is. And what kind of club might be appropriate for her. So anyways, they're showing Amane the rest of this secret base. So Amane seemed relieved as she spoke, having seen all of the facility once we had moved from dock to the office. Amane must have been worried about us, which is just like the usual her.
どうぞ天音さん、オレンジジュースです。ありがとう、朝。
So it seems like Asa has gotten quite friendly with her already. So anyways, Amane, there's something I want to talk to you about. So what is it? So I spoke to her in a somewhat formal or serious tone. So nervous expressions appeared on Kotori and Ageha's face. Okay, so the reason why we brought you here is not to show you our new base. So it isn't? So what could be the reason? I nodded sharply. And then I looked at Kotori and Ageha once more to confirm our intentions. Okay, so everything's set. And they both looked back at me to tell me, so go ahead. Asa just had a nervous look on her face as she gripped her bottle of soda. And I wonder how yours doing. So Amane, can you become our advisor? Okay, the golden question. Advisor? So because we don't have an advisor, we can't be recognized as a official club, like we talked about before. And after that, we asked several teachers, but of course, they all refused.
グライダーの専門知識を持ってる先生なんていないし、飛岡先生からも睨まれているので。
So the problem is that, well, we can't find some random person to be an advisor. Well, that person is a teacher, but then that person might not have the qualifications to be an expert. And I'm sure the more experienced, the more knowledgeable teachers, they're under the grips of Toei Sensei. So that's out of the question.
もし顧問になってくれても資格を持ってないんじゃあんまり意味ないし。
There you go. So as far as that's concerned, you have all the qualifications and you have the experience of managing a glider. Obviously, given that, well, we know she's been in school for so many years working on that glider.
それはまあそうだが。
And plus, I'm sure her pilot license is still active, so.
でも私は先生じゃないぞ。
But the problem is that even though I may be an expert, I'm not a teacher, so I can't meet the advisor requirement. Well, that shouldn't be a problem. But then again, I wonder if Amane has teaching credentials. Because I'm sure that's kind of like the line between whether or not you're a teacher and can be qualified to be an advisor or not. Well, I am the one who thought of this suggestion. And before I changed schools, I was in the cycle racing club, but the coach was a pro racer who had been invited from outside the school. So, in a sense, looking at his old club, that person, he has the qualifications and is an expert. So bringing in an outsider to be the coach is quite common in top-level sports clubs, and it's also not unusual for arts-based clubs to bring in experts. But then again, this is not really an art-based club, so that's kind of like apple and orange comparisons. So Amane had graduated from our school, so she was already very familiar with it. So this meant that the chances of it being permitted were much higher than if we were to bring in a complete outsider. But then again, I see a difference between Amane compared to those other people that I would talked about, because those other people, they're like professional athletes. They probably have championships and trophies, and they probably have a really good record of making records, being very competitive, and in a sense, it makes sense to bring in these people. It's like, well, they were able to have a really good track record, and it's best to bring in these people to share their expertise and their experience with the students who are trying to become professional athletes once they graduate. But I don't see Amane as someone with a good track record for the glider. So not only she doesn't have any awards or recognitions, she's also had a few accidents, and well, we'll see about that. But it doesn't hurt to try.
お忙しいとは思うんですけど。
So seeing us all bowing our heads, Amane goes into deep thought. Well... She walked once around the office and then picked up the picture frame that was on the shelf.
あの時、私はグライダーと関わるのはもう最後にしようと思っていた。
So last year, when I left the club, I vowed to myself that I won't be working on gliders anymore.
私の専門分野とは違うし、高いところはあまり好きじゃないからな。
And here we see the difference of Amane versus those pro athletes that I was talking about.
それに、もうイスカはいない。
So I think Amane's like, well, Iska's the real expert, knowledgeable person when it comes to gliders, and I just happen to tag along. So Iska is no longer here. That meant that Amane didn't have any reason to continue having anything to do with gliders. But Amane...
いいの？それで。だってあの時、もう少しで届きそうだったのに。届きそうで、届かなかった。
Well, for me, I guess that's...
そういうことなんだと思う。
So I guess that's enough for me. Amane speaks as if she has realized something. So that time inside of you, you already found the answer. As Amane answers without hesitation, the rest of us, without knowing it, all hung our heads. It really was all a thing of the past, Amane and the gliders. Well, we kind of knew this already, but now we felt that the truth we didn't want to accept, it was right there in front of us. So Amane looks at herself in the photo. So Amane looked... Okay, there you go. So a picture of herself with a slightly awkward smile on her face.
でも、私は君たちに返しきれないほどの恩がある。
Okay?
今度は私が君たちの力になる番だ。
So, well then, I do realize that you were able to help me a lot last year. So, turning a dormant club into something more active, and fixing the glider, and getting me up into the sky.
じゃあ
And?
あ、引き受けよう。顧問の話。
So, in turn, I have to owe my part and be your advisor. And I wonder if Amane has teaching credentials to make her qualified to be an advisor. Because I'm sure that's only going to be enough to fulfill the expert, knowledgeable person requirement.
やったよ、小鳥、青い。
Yeah, well, we'll be able to do something about this now.
よかったですね、先輩。
So we all instinctively gave each other high fives and also hugged each other to express our joy.
まったくもう、脅かさないでよ、あまねちゃん。本当ですよ。実はな、さっき話した新型の風車なんだが、特別実習という形で、慶風学園の生徒が建設プロジェクトに参加することになっているんだ。
So, well, there is some kind of project that's going on at the Keifuu Academy.
ああ、それなんか聞いたことあるかも。大掛かりな体験実習があるから、希望する生徒は申し出るようにって、そのことだったんだ。
So, the ones taking part must be mostly 4th and 5th year students. Even though they say they're recruiting those who wish to take part, they didn't ask us 3rd graders or 3rd years. But then again, eventually Aoi, Ageha, Kotori, and Asa and Yoru are going to be 4th and 5th years. So they can just wait 1, 2, 3 more years before they participate. I wonder where Ageha heard that rumor.
私はその授業で講師をするんだ。
So, I'm the instructor. Okay, so that fulfills the teacher requirement. So, legally, Amane can be a faculty advisor. So Amane proudly sticks out her chest. Her ample chest jiggled as she did so.
どうだ？すごいだろう。私は先生だぞ。大人なんだぞ。
So how's that? So instead of being a student who repeats all these years, I'm now a full adult, a teacher. As always, the thing that she's boasting about is a bit off the mark. So compared to other teachers, those at the center of the big project like this are supposed to be of an even higher level. It's like, well, I'm sure for something like this, they would rather have like a experienced teacher who's tenured, has many years of teaching experience, and has a really good track record. So maybe they did some project that got recognized, or they've made a big impact in the community, versus a fresh off the boat Amane.
じゃあ、天音先輩が授業をするんですか？
So you'll be teaching the class?
まあな。
Yep. And with that, Amane, let's see, arches her back, pointing her nose to the ceiling. And the rest of us say, wait, there's no way she could do that, is there? So Amane's terrible at teaching people. But then again, if you want Amane to be a faculty advisor, she'll have to be some kind of teacher, and this is one way.
慣れないと先輩語を理解するのは難しいよね。
Well, I kind of feel that Amane isn't going to explain things very well, and it's going to be hard to understand her lectures.
かわいそうよ。選ばれた優秀な生徒たちがかわいそうよ。
But then again, that's a big problem among really smart people, so they talk in a language that only few people are able to understand. Well, that's true.
学校で会ったらちゃんと望月先生って呼ぶんだぞ。
And if we meet at school, you'll have to call me Mochizuki Sensei.
留年しまくっていい年して学生続けてた人が今さら何言ってんだか。
Well, while we were having that kind of conversation,
なるほど。それで風車か。あれってあなたの設計だったのね。
oh, so that got some interest in Yori. It's like, oh, so these windmills, you had some influence in those designs. Huh? What? Hey, Yori, so do you know about the plan?
ええ。だってそのプロジェクトにお金出してるの。うちのおじいちゃんなんだもん。
Well, yes, because my grandfather, or the principal of the Keifuu Academy, is funding this. So?
そうなの？慶風学園の生徒が参加できるのもおじいちゃんの差し金よ。
So it was our grandfather who made this possible. Okay.
学校の実績につながるし、いい宣伝にもなるしね。
So this is a good way to help build the reputation of the Keifuu Academy and make it more recognizable.
私も参加しろって言われたけど、面倒だから断ったわ。
So is that so? So now the conversation is going off on a complete different tangent. Well, somehow she accepted it. So we've taken another step forward.
じゃあ帰ろう。お腹がペコペコだ。
Okay? So they left to go back to the Flying Fish Manor to see Amane's eating style, which ruins her beautiful image. And a few days later... Okay, so it's quite interesting that Yor mentions that, well, the grandfather, or the principal, he would like to use this windmill project as a way to build up the reputation of Keifuu Academy. And that's in contrast to the teacher, Tobika Sensei, who's probably using robots and robot competitions to promote the school. But then again, principal is higher than teacher. But anyways, we'll see how that goes. So, we boldly make a trip to the student council room, bringing Amane with us, who had come to the school in connection with the special train exercise. And then, having fulfilled all the conditions, we received the seal of approval from the student council president Akari Kumoi for the restoration of the Soaring Club.
まさか望月先輩を引っ張り出してくるなんて。
And obviously Akari can't believe that Amane is back. So I can't believe you brought back Mochizuki senpai. And still with an element of amazement in her voice, Akari announced her desire to participate in the new type windmill construction project right there in front of Amane. And then the next day. So I wonder what's going to happen next, and were there any problems in the approval process for the Soaring Club?
ごめんなさい。
Uh-oh. So during lunch break, thinking that Akari had come to visit our class, she suddenly bowed her head with a somber expression on her face. So what's up, Akari? So what's the problem?
Akari-san, ここは俺が。
Oh, so let me explain about this. So Masugu, who had been following her like a servant, tries to go ahead of her, but Akari holds him back. Okay, so well, I'll explain to them.
いえ、私からお話しします。
So I'll tell them.
一体何なの、会長。
So what's the problem?
あなたたちソアリング部の件なんですが。
So what happened with the Soaring Club?
部活への復帰は職員会議で却下されました。
So it's been rejected at a staff meeting, and I'm sure we know who is pushing for it. Wait, what?
どうしてですか？条件は整っているのに。
So we met all the requirements. So what else do they have against us?
厳密にはまだ却下されていないのだけれど。
So basically it's being considered for rejection or recommended for rejection or conditional accept. No, conditional rejected.
一部の先生が強硬に反対し、結論はうやむやになったそうよ。
And I'm pretty sure we know who. So that teacher, Tobika Sensei, and I'm sure he's pressuring the other members like, don't approve this club. No, and it's bad, and I'm pretty sure he has all these reasons about why no for the Soaring Club. So when she says some of the teachers, we can't guess who she means without having to tell us. Or her having to tell us.
ダメよ、そんなの。承認されなきゃ却下されたのと同じじゃない。
So if it's being recommended for rejection, then it pretty much is rejected. So Akari gives a nod with a gloomy expression. So we fulfilled all the conditions you gave us, so what other problems could there possibly be? So I'm sure it's safety once again, and I'm sure it's like, there's no way they can address safety, so it's too much of a liability for us, so it's best if we don't have this club at all.
望月先輩は臨時の講師であり、またお忙しい身でもあるわ。
And once again, I'm pretty sure it's Tomioka Sensei who tried to find some way to argue against the club. It's like, oh, so we see that they have Amane as the advisor, but she's temporary. And temporary teachers don't get privileges to support any clubs.
クラブの顧問は荷が重いのではないかというのが反対していた先生方の言い分よ。
Well?
そんなの天音先輩の勝手じゃないですか。先輩はやってくれるって言ってるのに。
Well, I wonder if they're going to change their minds if Amane shows up at the staff meeting and is like, well, I can support this club. I will do everything I can to be a good advisor and not a quiet advisor.
ええ、私もそう思うわ。でも先生方はせっかくの望月天音というリソースを無駄に割くことに批判的なのよ。
And plus, she has a really bad track record. So when she was a student here, she was wasting school money buying material that cost a lot of money and using it for nothing, or it becomes scrap afterwards. So she has no idea about how to save the school money.
ちょっと無駄って何よ、無駄って。
お前らギャーギャーうるさいんだよ。
Well, come on, just shut up. So listen to the student council.
あかりさんはな、お前らなんかのためにギリギリまで頑張ったんだぞ。
So she tried.
あの飛び岡のおっさんのところにも直接乗り込んでいって。
And she tried to convince that bad teacher, Toga Sensei.
いいの、田崎くん。もともとそういう約束だったんだもの。力が及ばなかったのは私のせいよ。責められても仕方がないわ。
So I knew it was kind of a risk, but I did try my best, and they did their part. So even though I had a lot of bullets from them to convince the staff members and the faculty that it's okay to have the Soaring Club, they still said no.
別に私らは会長を責めたいわけじゃ。
But you tried and that counts.
そうですよ。悪いのは先生で。
So apparently the teachers are all blind. They all bow to Tobiga Sensei, and they can't even reason, or they can't think otherwise. And they pretty much agree with everything he says. So is there something we can do, Akari?
このままうやむやにさせるつもりはありませんが、今すぐどうにかできる問題でもないと思います。
But unfortunately, the chances are slim. So I can't really offer you much at this point, and there isn't really much else you can do to convince the school that you can have a club.
ですから、我々生徒会がソアリング部を部活動として承認します。
Okay?
これが生徒会が発行した書類です。
But then again, as student council, so we will recognize you as a club. So she said, as she handed us the document, that was evidence that the Soaring Club restoration had been approved by the student council. So we'll take all the burden, and if everything goes wrong, we'll handle it. And it had the proper seal stamped on it.
わずかですが、生徒会の予備予算から部費も出します。滑走路の件もこちらから連絡して使用許可をいただきました。
So we're going to restore all the permissions that you had and give you some money.
仕事早っ。何かあったら生徒会で引き受けます。とは言い切れないのが申し訳ないのだけれど。
There you go. It's like, well, if anything goes wrong, we'll take care of it. So the staff members have to bitch about it one more time. We're just going to say, well, we say it's okay, and we'll handle all the liabilities that come with this club.
ですから慎重に、なるべく問題を起こさないよう、クラブ活動に勤しんでください。
But to help us, make sure you don't cause any problems or accidents. So that'll get them to quiet down.
ありがとう、会長。
So thank you very much.
ございます。それでは、私はこれで。
So Akari gave a bow, and then dragging Masugu with her turned to leave.
あ、そうだ。
Oh, so one more thing.
以前学校の倉庫から紛失したグライダーですが
So, okay. Gulp.
もしどこかで発見されればそれはあなたたちのものよソアリング部の備品として好きに使ってくれていいわ
So we're going to release the liability or the ownership of the glider, and if you find it, it's yours. So we're going to say that the glider is officially property of the Soaring Club. So we will not go after it and sell it. Said Akari as she gives a big grin.
それでは失礼するわね意外と融通きくんだね
Well, that might not seem like it, but it's like she's sneering or cheering for Soaring Club.
私あの人のことちょっと好きになっちゃった
So we have to give credit for Akari for helping us defend against the teacher's wishes. And even though these staff members are like, no, we're not going to accept this club at all, Akari approves it anyways. So that's how our Soaring Club made it safe, well, sort of, returned after a 1-year hiatus. Wake up, Kotori! Breakfast has been ready for a while now. Okay, so this must be the beginning of Kotori's route. So by the way, I chose all the Kotori options to unlock the true common end. So, in the true common route end, anyways, it turns out Amane is the new club advisor, and it is quite interesting to see Amane go a full 180, going from a super repeater student that's caused so much trouble for the school to a part-time faculty member who teaches a class for Keifuu Academy. And I'm sure for Akari, she will be questioned and maybe disciplined by Tobiku-sensei and his colleagues. The fact that Akari is against school rules to approve the Soaring Club without our full unanimous consent. And by doing so, you are abusing your powers as the president of the student council, and that could be grounds for impeachment or a recall election. And the only argument that I feel would stick from Toki-sensei is that Amane is not a full-time teacher, and therefore doesn't have the privileges that a regular teacher does. So the other arguments, the fact that it's going to be too hard for Amane to handle, that does make sense because I'm sure the teachers, they teach more classes and they have more work to do with regards to the school. And more importantly, I wonder how the principal or the headmaster feels about the Soaring Club because one of his granddaughters is part of it. So if they could get the headmaster to agree or accept the Soaring Club, it'll make it even harder for Toki-sensei to argue against it. So I feel that the reason why Toki-sensei is strongly against the Soaring Club is not just because of safety issues, but also because he wants the money funded for his robotics club. It's like, well, my club is productive, and we win awards, and we generate media attention, and it's our club that makes Keifuu Academy a well-reputable school. And I think he really wanted that glider to be found so he could sell it and use the money to fund new projects in his robotics club. And in a sense, it's like, well, it'll ensure that we have a higher chance of winning that championship next year. Well, at least it'll create more opportunities for new members. So going forward to the individual character routes, I don't have an order set in stone yet, but I will play Kotori's route first because Kotori's route unlocks Amane's route. But usually what happens is that I have a favorite character in mind, and she goes last. So this will be the end of this playlist, and when I start the individual character routes, they'll be in their own playlists. So anyways, look forward to the individual character routes coming soon. And with that in mind, I'll see you in a future playthrough on a future game.